I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. You're not gonna be making what you think you're gonna be making as a new grad, okay? When I started out 5 years ago as a new grad, I was making $24 an hour. Weird. And I put in an application here in Florida just to see like what they're staffing, what they were offering. $36.50. $36.50. $36.50 to live in this economy? A recruiter reached out to me for a travel position in Nashville a couple months ago. Base pay $17. $17. And I think the weekly pay for that whole entire contract before taxes came out was already $1,600 a week. I'd rather go bartend than go pick up a fourth or fifth shift in the hospital at this point. I'm kind of interested to see where you're at and like what you're making as staff or even a travel position. I'm not an adult nurse.
The job I just interviewed for at the end told me they pay $45K. The way I was holding back tears, and I am right now. Data analyst role located in New York City requires several years of experience. And I know something is better than nothing, don't get me wrong, but the salaries I have been seeing for certain jobs, I am shocked with how low they've gotten.
What's your major and expected salary after graduating?
Oh, shit, I don't know.
Political science and 170K. Same.
Mathematics. I'll take anything above 6 figures, I don't care.
We're both engineers. I don't think I expect 6 figures, but kind of close.
I was thinking like 70.
Finance major, and I'm gonna be making 110,000.
I'm a double major in marketing and psychology. 50K to like 80K.
I'm a math major. I'd be happy with anywhere like 60, 70K.
What's tuition here at Boston College for a full year?
60K?
I'm not familiar. I think it's around 80 though.
80 or above, which is crazy.
86K.
$90,000.
It's 93K.
Gen Zers entering the job market are in for a rude awakening. Everyone's talking about if AI is coming for Gen Zers jobs, but what they should also be talking about is realistic salary expectations for entry-level employees. Of course, location, stage of the business, etc. inform these decisions, but these are benchmarks. Marketing and creative roles range from 45 to 60K. Engineering and data roles range from 70 to about 110K. Business ops or analysts range from 60 to 75K. And customer success starts at about 45K. It should be no surprise that 80% of Gen Z actually want a side hustle.
I'm an au pair. And how much do you make? Like a week, 200.
Driver for a daycare center.
Cool. How much do you make?
About 10 grand a year.
Okay. Do you like what you do?
I love it.
I'm a teacher.
What kind of teacher?
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten. Love it.
I'm a TV news producer.
Awesome. How much do you make?
I make 54.
Okay.
I make $39K.
Awesome. And do you feel fairly compensated for where you live if you're from here or Pittsburgh?
No.
No.
What do you do?
I'm a social therapist too.
How much do you make?
Right now I'm making probably around like 42.
Yeah. And how many years of experience?
2 to 3.
I'm a preschool teacher.
How much do you make?
33,000.
How many years of experience?
7.
Okay. Do you love what you do?
Sometimes. I love teaching, but it's everything that goes around it. I want to do something that helps people and like I can use my hands and my creativity, but I haven't figured out what that is yet.
I am a paraeducator at an elementary school.
Awesome. How much do you make?
Not enough. I make, I don't know, like 15 grand a year. I have one of the hardest jobs ever, and I don't make enough to live, but I love my job and I love kids. I think that's all that matters, you know? I leave work every day smiling, so I think that's really where it counts.
So when I found out I was one of the lowest paid people in my company and that someone had even been offered a bonus, the amount that I was deducted to stay, I took that as a sign that all the things that I wanted and all the things that I thought I was trying to build at that job, a lot of money being one of them, I was not doing it the right way. I was not doing a good job. And so I said, okay, something has to change. So for me in that moment, what I did was I changed some expenses around and I moved some things out of my life until I had the ability to pay for a couple months of an executive coach. And I got an executive coach, and the first thing I did was say, okay, tell me everything that's wrong with me. Tell me what I do right. Tell me what I do wrong, because I never want this to happen again. And I want to be on the right track. And I need to know what to do. She was basically like, that's so cute. That's not how it works at all. And I'm going to run you through my program, and it's not going to be about like, what are all the right things you do and what are all the wrong things you do. So I did a couple months with her. And what I started to realize was that work wasn't about right and wrong. And maybe it's less about that than anything else. And that had been the thing that I was focusing on. Like, there's a right path and a wrong path. And everyone knows something that I don't know. That was like a big refrain that I had in my head. Like, everyone has this like secret knowledge that they just don't share, and I don't know it. And the executive coach was the first time I was like, oh wait, everyone's just kind of playing their own card game here. And in there, I realized that I wanted to run my own company. I had always thought I just wanted to be an executive in a corporate company. And I didn't start it for another couple of years, but that's where I realized, and that's actually where I just started to take a lot of agency over my own career. And a lot of the things I talk about started at that time, where I thought, okay, like the reasons I'm not getting what I want here, it's not because these founders suck, it's not because I'm a victim, it's not because they're biased against me. It was because I wasn't creating the right formula for myself and for them that I needed to create like the kind of sort of financial and reputational success I wanted to create at that company. And I think the question that faces all of us is that something we can shift and change, or are there some places where we're just never gonna have the right formula to create the success that we want? And for me, I realized pretty quickly that it was the latter at this company. Even though I loved it so much, that was part of the reason I had been there young. I had started out really green, and I just don't think they were ever able to see past the green and just see what I might be able to do otherwise. So I decided to move on, but I moved on before I was really upset. So I moved on well. I wrote letters to everyone. I keep in touch with many people from there now. I made other mistakes in other jobs after. But yeah, that's where I really, actually, the agency really started for me.
This post is a reality check for people working in tech, because a lot of us are in this bubble where we have so much privilege and life is so amazing that we sometimes forget that. In the post, the engineer is disappointed with his low salary of $160,000 a year and a low net worth of $400,000 at 28 years old. They even say that they stopped talking to their friends because of how embarrassed they were about the fact that they were making less than them, and go on to wonder about whether or not their career is salvageable. This post seems really out of touch and a little bit ridiculous, but it kind of just serves as a reminder for people not to be comparing their salary or your net worth or your materialistic things with other people, because if you compare with people who are better than you, you're bound to be disappointed, and chances are that life is pretty good.
So I made a video the other day sharing the low salary I got offered as a pharmacist when I graduated after going to school for 8 years and getting a doctorate degree. And a few people in the comments were asking, well, did you not know how much you would get before you signed up? Or you should have done more research before you decided to go to pharmacy school. But this is what happened and why I had no idea the salary would be so low. So first of all, I decided to become a pharmacist senior year of high school, right? And so when I decided to become a pharmacist then, people were still getting a sign-on bonus because of supply and demand. There wasn't at that time enough pharmacists. There wasn't enough like pharmacy school. And so people were getting like $50,000 of sign-on bonus, like a car, like all this. They were getting paid $130,000 starting, some even like $150,000. Now, fast forward to when I graduated from senior year of high school, that was like almost 9 years later. In 9 years, you guys, a lot can change. And what happened in 9 years is that 1,000,001 pharmacy schools opened up. So many new pharmacy graduates were now out in the job field looking for a job. And supply and demand went the other way. There were too many pharmacists and not enough jobs. And so, of course, the greed of corporate America, they could say, hey, I'm going to just pay you less because I can. And if you don't take this job, someone else will. And so all the sign-on bonuses went away and salary just dropped. So yes, I did my research before I picked becoming a pharmacist. But like I said, in 9 years, a lot can change. And honestly, with like AI and technology evolving so much, it makes me really nervous to like think about what can change in the next 9 to 10 years.
It's a common known thing that teachers don't get paid very highly, especially like public school teachers. But I know teachers that are loaded, living in the nicest houses ever.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with the salary that you're on every year. It's how you use that money and how you spend that money. Leaving school, we think we've got to get a job that pays high to be rich in the future. It's not that at all.
No.
How a 23-year-old receptionist in San Francisco spends her $25K salary. She doesn't have any deductions, so after tax, she nets $2,100 per month. For essentials, she pays $300 in rent, and that's because she's living with her parents. She also has a credit card that she counts as an essential expense because she's paying $500 a month until it's paid off. This is 46% of her take-home pay. Her non-essentials are standard and also pretty minimal, and they're about 21% of her take-home. Given her income, she does a really awesome job with saving. Not only is she paying off her credit card up here, but she is saving about $750 a month, and $500 of that is going towards investments. This is about 30% of her take home. If you like this series, make sure you're...
It fucking sucks being a Gen Z in this shitty economy right now. Why the fuck does every single meal cost at least like $20 and then like 20% tax, and I gotta pay another fucking 20% tip on top of it, and a lot of places are hiding their service fee in there and they still want you to fucking tip them because they be holding the fucking tablet out in front of you to fucking pressure you into doing it. And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna just cook at home. And then yesterday I just saw an avocado at Safeway being sold for like $3.50. I'm like, what the fuck? Who can afford to move out right now? Like, how are you supposed to move out when a studio costs $2,000 plus a month to fucking rent? Like, I personally, I fucking hate living at home because I have like hella issues with my parents. And then that's just making my mental health go like even more downhill because I need to stay with them longer to save up money. I don't think in my whole life I'll ever be able to invest in something big like household. I wouldn't be surprised if one day I need to start paying to breathe oxygen a day and get a tax for that.
Gender pay gap doesn't exist. Women just choose lower paying jobs. Welcome to dumb shit people say I can disprove in just under a minute. So you often hear people say that women earn less because they choose lower paying professions like teaching or nursing. And while it's true that on average these jobs are lower paid today, that wasn't always the case. Before women were allowed to have jobs that require qualifications, it was men who occupied all of the professions we considered as feminine today. For instance, nurses used to be exclusively male, but then as women started to move into these occupations, they began paying less. And that's also confirmed by the largest study on this topic to date, done by Paula England. In some professions, wages declined as much as 57 percentage points when they went from being predominantly male to female. In some others, they declined by 34 or 21. So no, women don't choose lower paying jobs. Jobs become lower paid when women take over a previously male-dominated field.
How are single people in low-paying jobs, by low paying I mean like under 100K a year, how are y'all making it? Because single here, divorced 6 years. I work in social services and early childhood education. I have a master's degree, but it is a very low-paying field. And if my adult daughter, she just turned 24 on Friday, if she and her baby were not living with me and her helping me pay rent, like as my roommate, I couldn't do it. So yeah.
Working at McDonald's, Target, Taco Bell, all of that is not going to cut it no more. I just saw a video of an older woman saying that our generation got it harder because it's hard it's harder to afford rent now, which I feel like is true, but only to a certain extent. Like, that kind of job is okay and it's appropriate for people who are in high school or young adults. But once you get to a certain age, it's time to get a big person job, an adult job, or you're not going to be able to afford nothing. As of now, the best thing to do is to go to school and major in something that's in high demand that you can get a job for, getting a trade, or perfecting your skills and starting a business that's in high demand. That's literally the only way around it. Other than that, you're going...
College majors with the lowest salaries: 10 anthropology, 9 interior design, 8 education, 7 graphic design, 6 psychology, 5 kinesiology, 4 criminology, 3 criminal justice, 2 animal science, 1 theology.